It's January, and everyone around you is talking about their new diet, new gym membership, and New Year, New Me goals. But most of them will give up and fail by Valentine's Day. Today, I'm sharing why New Year's resolutions are set up to fail and the anti resolution approach that'll help you lose 20 pounds in 2026. Welcome to the Fit and Fulfilled Show. If you're a busy professional woman who wants to finally prioritize your health and happiness, this is the place to be. I'm your host, Soraya Russell, certified macronutrition coach, mindset coach, and lifestyle transformation coach. And each week, I share practical strategies to help you build sustainable habits, boost your energy, become obsessed with what you see when you look in the mirror, and feel confident and strong in your body, all without feeling guilty, stressed, or burned out. Let's dive in. So, we're really going to dive into the psychology behind New Year's resolutions and why they end up failing for most people by about March timeframe, and the psychological changes you can make sure whatever you do in January lasts you through the year and for the rest of your life. So, the first problem with New Year's resolutions, especially with weight loss, is the fresh start effect. This basically means that you feel like January is a clean slate, a fresh start, which means you're motivated and wanting to change everything at once. You feel like you want to completely overhaul your life. You tell yourself this time will be different, but what's happening psychologically is your brain loves the idea of transformation more than it loves the idea of consistency. So it feels like a great fantasy to say, January comes, it's going to be a new me, a fresh start, everything's going to be different. Your brain loves that fantasy, but it doesn't love the day-to-day actions necessary to be consistent. It's like fantasizing a perfect relationship. You think about all the good parts of it, having a best friend, a partner, someone to do things with, but you don't fantasize the disagreements, the compromises, the hard days. And so when those things happen, you don't know how to handle them because they're not part of your fantasy. Same thing when it comes to your weight loss journey. January 1st is just another Monday with fancier marketing. So if you think about it, calendars and dates are a man-made phenomenon. So January 1st feels like it's a really fresh start and something's magically going to change. But if you think about it, if January 1st falls on a Monday, it's just another Monday. The calendar changing, the year changing doesn't automatically mean that your habits, behaviors, or mindset are going to change. You are the only one who can make those changes, regardless of what date or year it is. Another error I see when it comes to New Year's resolutions is the all or nothing effect. If you're a woman who already struggles with all or nothing thinking, it gets heightened and worsened during January 1st because you think I'm either hitting January 1st, new habits, new behaviors, or I've completely failed. You don't know how to go into the new year with kind of small, consistent, sustainable habits. It's either I'm going hard, I'm going to the gym every day, or I just have completely failed and I haven't started January the right way. You start with extreme rules, no sugar, no carbs, working out 7 days a week, walking 20,000 steps a day. And then if you miss one of those things, you mess up one thing, you have one piece of chocolate, you feel like you failed and everything goes out the window. This black and white thinking is why most women end up falling off the wagon by Valentine's Day, because they're trying to overhaul their life. When something does not work, they just give up on everything. And that's simply why I see by March timeframe, people are not consistent with the habits that they started in January. Another issue I see is the motivation trap. So when you're starting fresh in January, you're running simply off of motivation, not off of discipline. And motivation is a very fleeting feeling. It's the highest before you've actually started something. So think about it. Whenever you're starting some sort of new journey, you're most motivated before you start, once again, because of the fantasy of starting that journey. But once you're actually in the day to day, in the nitty gritty, that motivation goes away because it's not as fun or as inspiring as you imagine. Because say you want to lose 20 pounds, that takes months to get to. So you're dealing with a lack of instant gratification, delayed gratification, and you're going to be focusing on other things that make you feel better in the moment, like eating the chips, the cookies, the fries, even though what you really want is to get to that longer term goal that's going to take consistency and discipline, not motivation. Motivation gets you started, but systems keep you going. So it's great that you feel motivated going into the new year, but we need to focus on building systems that work when motivation fades, which we are going to talk about. And the last mistake I see with New Year's resolutions is the restriction to rebellion pipeline. What this means is I see many women starting the new year with very strict, rigid rules, no sugar, no carbs, no fast food, things like that. And so whenever you restrict something, you tend to rebel against it. Have you ever noticed the more you tell yourself you can't have something, the more you want it? For example, I had a client recently who she signed up to work with us, but prior she had done V-Shred. And she said the issue with that was they told her she could only eat certain foods, and they said her weekly treat was a fourth cup of nuts. That's not a treat for her, right? She likes sweets. And so that felt very restrictive. So what she was doing is she would tell them she's following the meal plan. She would tell them she's eating the nuts, but she would secretly be sneaking cookies and brownies and sweets and not telling her trainer or her coach. And so this is what happens when you restrict. You eventually will rebel because it's not sustainable long term. This is why what I find is a lot of women end up gaining more weight by the end of the year, say September to December, than they were when they started. So that's because in January, people tend to be very motivated. They go hard. They fall off by March. They continue going back to their old habits, gaining weight. And then they don't get motivated again until the end of the year strikes, but they've already now gained an extra 10 to 15 pounds because they did not build sustainable habits. So now let's get into the anti-resolution approach, the approach that you should be using to lose 20 pounds in 2026 and actually maintain it for the rest of your life. The first thing we have to talk about is timeline expectation management, how long it will realistically take you to lose 20 pounds. A lot of these people online love to tell you lose 20 pounds in 20 days, 20 pounds in 30 days, but that's not really realistic. And if you think that is, you get disappointed when things don't go that fast or you feel like they're not working if you're not losing weight that quickly. So realistically, it takes about 3 to 5 months to lose 20 pounds, depending on your starting weight. So let's break down a formula for you to understand how long it'll take you to realistically lose that weight based on where your starting weight is right now. So there's something called the 0.5 to 0.7% rule, which means you can expect to lose 0.5 to 0.7% of your body weight on a weekly basis on average when you're being about 80% consistent. Don't have to be 100%, just about 80. So say that you're currently 200 pounds, 200 times 0.5% is 1. That would be 1 pound a week loss on average. 200 times 0.7% is 1.4. That's 1.4 pounds a week loss on average. So that means it'll take you about 14 to 20 weeks to lose 20 pounds, aka 3.5 to 5 months if you're, say, 200 pounds. And you may think that sounds like a long time, but this timeline is good because when you lose weight more steadily and slowly, you're going to be mostly losing fat and water weight, not muscle. What tends to happen if you lose weight too rapidly, you're probably losing muscle and fat, which means you're going to have that skinny fat look and you're going to still feel like you have stomach fat and you're not as lean and as toned as you want. When you do things steadily and sustainably, you're setting your body up to make sure that you're losing the right things and you get to your goal body composition, not just your goal weight. So what this means is you might not be at your goal weight by Valentine's Day, but you will be at your goal weight before summer. That may not feel sexy or exciting, but it's realistic. And if you're realistic instead of idealistic, you actually get to where you want to be and you're able to maintain it. And in a way, it can be idealistic because, hey, that means you're going to be looking good and feeling good before summer. So that's still really, really exciting. The second thing you want to do is habit stack and start with 1 to 2 habits at a time, not 10. New Year's resolutions tend to fail because you try to do a million things at once, try to change everything at one time. And that's really overwhelming and stressful for a lot of women. And if you can't do everything, you tend to do nothing. So if you set the expectation to just be 1 to 2 things, that's much easier for you to implement. You do those 1 to 2 things for a couple weeks. Once they become habitual, then you can add more things on top of that. For example, the 2 things you could focus on is eating protein with every meal and walking 7,000 steps a day. I like this because it combines exercise and nutrition, but without either one being too overwhelming. Or you could do something like hitting your calorie targets every day. So say that's 1,800 calories and then strength training 3 times a week. Those 2 are very high result driven activities. So even those 2 things alone will help you get great results, even if you do nothing else. Another one could be drinking 80 ounces of water and sleeping 7 to 9 hours per night. This is a great one if you're someone who's very stressed out, running around all the time and doesn't really get restful sleep and never feels like you have the energy to get things done. So pick your 2 habits and give them 2 to 3 weeks to kind of become habitual before adding in something new. This is really great because your brain can only process so many new things at a time. It's kind of like when you're trying to master new skills. If you're trying to master 3 new skills at once, it's going to be very hard for you to become a master in any of them. You're going to be okay at 3 things instead of getting really good at 1 or 2 things. Same thing with habits. If you focus on 1 or 2 things, you get very good at them before you jump to the next thing. And for example, we had a client sign up with us last January, so January 2025. And previously, almost every single year, she did something new to kickstart the new year, whether that was a challenge, a diet, signing up for some sort of program. And the issue she had every single year was it was so strict and overwhelming. She'd have to count all her calories. She'd have to work out every single day. She'd have to track all her food to the point where she would stick with it for about a month, be motivated, but then fall off completely and regain any weight that she did lose. So every year it was the same cycle of starting January very motivated, and by February she felt very defeated and frustrated. So when she started with us, she was surprised because we were like, hey, here are all the things that do need to be done eventually: strength training, water, sleep, walking, calorie deficit. But we're going to start with two things inside the program. She was shocked because she was like, no, I want to do everything at once. I want to just implement, get fast results. But we kind of gave her the perspective of, you've done that in the past and it has not worked long term. So let's start slow, let's start sustainable, and let's build habits. So we started with hitting her calorie goals every single day and walking. No strength training, no water. She was getting her water in, but we weren't hyper fixated on that and not focusing on anything else. For 2 weeks, she was consistent with that, and she saw results on the scale. She was like, this is great. And those things became second nature to her. Then we added in sleep and water. She did that for 2 weeks on top of the calories and walking and started seeing even better results. Then she added in strength training. And this was about a month and a half in. She started getting more tone. Her body fat percentage was going down. Her muscle mass was going up. Within 12 weeks, she had lost 15 pounds of pure fat, not weight, but pure fat, and built muscle. She started getting so many compliments, and her friends who started the new year doing keto and all these other things were like, girl, what are you doing? Because I also started doing my own weight loss thing in the new year, and I don't look like you, and you're still eating all this good food. And she explained habit stacking and the different habits she was working on, and her friends were floored, and they stopped doing the diets they were doing and started kind of implementing the things that she was telling them about. So I say that to say, if you start the new year trying to do everything at once, it's going to become overwhelming. You're going to quit. But if you start small and start sustainable and stack habits over time, that's how things last. This client, she lost 15 pounds in January last year. She's now down a total of 25 pounds when I talked to her in September this past year. So trust me when I say, if you want to lose 20 pounds in 2026, the things I share will work for you. The third element you want to focus on, speaking of which, is strategic nutrition, not restriction. Most women do some sort of strict diet, cut their calories super low to lose weight fast. The anti-resolution approach is being in a moderate, slight calorie deficit that includes all your favorite foods. And to explain what a calorie deficit is, it's basically when you eat less calories than you burn. When this happens, your body has no choice but to eat the fat on your body. So think about it this way. If you eat 2,000 calories a day, and then you burn 2,000 calories, you ate exactly what you burned. There's nothing left over, so you maintain your weight. Now, if you eat 2,500 calories in that day and you only burn 2,000 calories, there's 500 extra calories that your body doesn't have anything to do with, so it's going to get stored as fat in your body. That's basically how you end up gaining weight. Now, say you burn 2,000 calories a day, but you only ate 1,800. There's now a deficit of 200 calories. Your body's like, hey, I need this extra 200 calories for energy because I burned 2,000. You're not giving it to me in food, so now I have to find a backup source of energy. Fat is a backup source of energy on your body, so your body's going to eat that for energy since you're not giving it to it in a form of food. And that's how you basically lose weight. Your body is eating itself. It's eating the fat on your body because it's not getting that extra food. So a simple formula you can use to calculate your calorie deficit is take your goal weight times 12. So say your goal weight is 150 pounds, 150 times 12 is 1,800 calories. This is a very simple way to calculate your needs for weight loss. It's a generic calculation. It's not super personalized, but if you want a more precise calculation based on things like your age, your activity level, your height, your weight, all that good stuff, I have a free calorie deficit crash course where I basically explain exactly how to calculate your calorie needs and your protein needs. You can grab that for free down below. Now, an issue I find when it comes to calories is that a lot of people can do this calculation or even take my free course and realize, okay, this is how many calories I need to be eating. But taking a number and translating it into actual food can be difficult, and then tracking food on a regular basis can be very time consuming, which is why we actually created our own AI meal planner. Her name is Mia. And with our AI meal planner, you input your calorie and macro goals, and then you say things like your allergies, health conditions, food preferences, cuisine preferences, foods you like, foods you don't like, your grocery budget, how many people you're feeding, the drinks you like. And with the answers to those questions, our AI meal planner within 5 seconds will pop out a fully personalized meal plan based on all of your needs, your wants, and your specifications. Comes with a grocery list, ingredients, seasoning guidance, recipes, everything. So this kind of takes the overwhelm out of meal planning for our clients, and it's something that's included in our coaching program, especially for our clients who are mostly busy professional women. It just makes staying on track with nutrition 10 times easier, which makes achieving their weight loss goals a lot easier. And the great thing about a calorie deficit versus things like keto or paleo is you don't have to cut anything out. All your favorite foods, pizza, pasta, cookies, even wine can fit. It's just about having the right portions that align with your calorie deficit. And that's why it tends to be more sustainable than doing some sort of strict crash diet. The fourth element you want to focus on is strategic movement, which I recommend a mix of strength training and walking. A lot of New Year's resolutions start with, I'm going to run every single day. I'm going to hit the gym 6 times a week. I'm going to do 20,000 steps. But you have to remember that exercise takes time, and you have to think about how much time can I realistically dedicate to exercise for the rest of my life. If you know working out 2 hours a day every single day is not realistic, don't start that in January. But if you know you can do strength training 3 times a week for 30 to 45 minutes, walk 1 hour every single day, then that's what you should commit to. So the anti-resolution approach is to focus on 2 simple movement forms that you can sustain, which I recommend those be lifting weights and walking. And lifting weights does not have to be at the gym. You can do it at home with just 3 pairs of dumbbells. So I recommend strength training 3 to 4 times per week. And strength training is important for many reasons. The first is it helps preserve muscle mass. More muscle leads to a faster metabolism, and a faster metabolism makes weight loss and fat loss particularly much easier. On top of that, when you build muscle, there's going to be less room for fat, and that's going to lead to that more lean, toned body composition that you're probably going for, not just weight loss on the scale. You don't need to spend hours working out and lifting weights. Just 30 to 45 minutes is all you need. You just want to focus on 4 exercises. So if it's leg day, this can be squats, lunges, deadlifts, Bulgarian split squats, and maybe a regular squat. And you want to focus on compound movements. Compound movements are things that work multiple muscles at once. So it's just more efficient than trying to do one glute only workout here and one hamstring only workout here. You're working multiple muscles with one exercise, so you're getting more bang for your buck. You also want to focus on progressive overload. This means changing a factor over time. I recommend this being the weight you're lifting. So for example, when you start out, maybe you're lifting 20 pounds with squats. Then 2 weeks from now, you try to do 25 pounds. Then 2 weeks after, you try to lift 30 pounds. It doesn't have to be every 2 weeks, but maybe every month. Try to up your weight slightly to challenge your muscles more so that they can grow and help you achieve that more lean, toned look. Now, the second thing you want to implement is daily walking. You want to aim for about 7,000 steps a day, which is about an hour and a half of walking, depending on how fast you go. Walking is my favorite form of cardio because it helps you burn calories without making you super hungry like other forms of cardio, for example, running or HIIT. It's also very light on your joints, so if you are a woman who has knee pain or joint pain, this is much easier to do than something more intense. Also, if you're a woman over 35, you do want to focus on more gentle forms of movement so that you're not stressing your body out, which can increase your cortisol levels. And walking is very gentle, it's light, it's also just very stress relieving, so it'll help you with not just weight loss, but also help you manage your stress levels. So the combination of these two give you the best return on investment because you're strengthening your muscles, you're boosting your metabolism, you're alleviating any of that pain in your body, you're able to lower your stress levels. So it just creates a great combination for ultimate fat burning potential. The next thing you want to do is focus on habit goals, not weight goals. If your only goal is to lose 20 pounds, you're not focused on the habits that help you get there. And so if you're not focused on habits, the goal of losing the weight is never going to happen. But if you focus on habit-based goals, the weight goal will happen. So in our program, we have something called a habit tracker that we created, the Project S Habit Tracker. And the way this works is our clients will write down the habits they want to focus on for the upcoming week. So for our new clients, this is typically just 1 to 2 things. It could be walking 7,000 steps a day, hitting their calorie targets within a range every single day. And so each day that coming week, they'll check off, did I do it or did I not? So that's what they're tracking, not their weight loss progress necessarily every single day. They're tracking their habits. And then after about a month's time, they then check their weight loss results as a result of those habits. So habit tracking is more impactful because when you do the habits, the results come. But if you're only tracking the actual results and something's not working the way you want it to, you don't know why because you're not tracking the habits that would have led to that result. So some examples of habits you can focus on are hitting your calorie target within 200 calorie range. So my goal is to eat 1,500 to 1,700 calories every day. My goal is to walk 5 to 7,000 steps every day. My goal is to drink 80 to 90 ounces of water every day. My goal is to sleep 7 to 9 hours every day. Those are some examples of habit related goals. The sixth thing you want to do if you want to lose 20 pounds in 2026 is abandon the thought of being perfect and focus on being consistent. Because when you're focusing on perfection, you'll be perfect for a week, but as soon as you're not perfect, everything goes out the window. But if your goal is consistency, consistency could be I did 2 workouts this week, next week I did 3. Consistency means I'm still doing workouts every single week, even if it changes on a week to week basis. Have a reset protocol when you have a week where things are a little bit off. So if you plan to work out on Wednesday and you skipped your Wednesday workout, make it up on Thursday. If you plan to walk 7,000 steps today and you only did 2,000, next day do 7,000. It doesn't have to be, well, I missed something, so this whole week is ruined. It's maybe I missed something, but I got back into the saddle within 24 hours, telling myself I don't have to wait for a new week or a new month to get back on track with my habits. So here are some mistakes to avoid when you're trying to lose 20 or more pounds in 2026. The first is thinking that you can out-exercise a bad diet. I'm sure you've heard this before, but I don't care how many days you hit the gym, how many steps you do a day. If you do not change your eating habits, you might lose a little bit of weight, but you are not going to get to your ideal weight and maintain it. Because weight loss is 80% nutrition and 20% exercise. Both are important, but nutrition is going to be more important when it comes to seeing the results on the scale. Mistake number 2 is going at it alone when what you really need is support and structure. If you're starting January just doing a diet by yourself or even with friends, you don't really know what you're doing. You don't know if it's the right thing for you, and you could be further damaging your metabolism and your hormones if that diet's not really built for you. On top of that, if you don't have the right structure, you're going to say, well, this is what I'm going to do going forward in January, but that structure might not be best built for your lifestyle. On top of that, when you try to do it alone, you might be doing the diet and the workouts, but you're not addressing your mindset. Because maybe the reason you failed in the past is because you have self-sabotaging behaviors. You're an emotional eater. You have a fear of failure or even success. And so if you don't get help to address that, you're going to fall into the same pattern of starting and stopping. So in our program, we provide the systems and the support. You have your coaching calls, you have messaging support, you have support from our therapist, but you also have a system that's built specifically for you, your personalized eating regimens, your personalized workout routine, your personalized sleep routine, your personalized water intake routine. Everything's very much customized to you, your lifestyle, and your schedule. You can and will lose 20 pounds this year and keep it off for the rest of your life with the right structure and the right support. So thank you so much for tuning in to the Fit and Fulfilled show today. I hope you walked away with practical strategies that you can start implementing to feel more confident, energized, and fulfilled in your personal and professional life. And if you found this helpful in absolutely any way, I ask that you please subscribe and share with a friend that would find this helpful so they can benefit from this information as well. And if you want to lose 20 to 50 pounds without cutting out your favorite foods and keeping it off for the rest of your life, then I invite you to apply for our coaching program, the Fit and Fulfilled Academy. In the Academy, we help busy professional women like you by providing the guidance, coaching, and support with nutrition, fitness, and mindset so that you can achieve lasting weight loss. All the details are down below. Next week, we're diving into a brand new topic that you're not going to want to miss. But until then, remember you deserve to feel as confident in your body as you do in your career. Take care.